Hi guys, this is Jean Holden, producer of the show, and I just wanted to take a minute to let you know where you can find us on the internet. Please go to ThatMan on Fatman.com. There you can find out all the things you need to know about the show. You'll be able to find links to the podcast, to YouTube, to Twitter, Facebook, even Instagram and Snapchat. Thank you so much for listening, guys, and we hope you enjoy the show.
Today's show is brought to you by Death Wish Coffee. Death Wish Coffee, the strongest coffee in the world.
This is Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman, and I want to urge you to make a generous donation to the Wayne Foundation so we can stop the sexual trafficking of children. Do it, or I'll find you.
And don't forget to check out our good friend of the show, Mark Live, over at chundertunes.com for all your podcast animation needs. ThatMan on Fatman is recorded with a Zoom H6 handy recorder. Zoom for creators.
Disclaimer. The show you're about to experience is for entertainment purposes only. The hosts use mature language and conversation just like in most of life. If you're too uptight, this might not be for you. All that said, we really do hope you enjoy the show. But if you don't enjoy it, expect a nice big shipment of my joyous Joker juice on your doorstep in the very near future. Toodles!
Yes, please note that use of all sound effects is done ironically.
Ooh-ah. You are listening to ThatMan on Fatman with Scott and Jean Holden, and they, trust me, have a great ass.
As the world's biggest Kevin Smith fan, I appreciate the fact that somebody finally made a podcast about that interesting motherfucker. So yes, you absolutely did the right thing.
Okay, what has two thumbs and is a huge fan of Kevin Smith? ThatMan!
Scott, who does ThatMan on Fatman podcast.
Yeah.
Ooh-ah.
Well, once upon a time, just a regular man read a book written by the Fat Man. Tough shit written by old Kev Smith.
Ooh-ah. ThatMan on Fatman.
Kev said go out and start a podcast, and so I did, and I had a real blast. But my obsession was driving my co-host nuts.
Who is he? He's that man. He's talking.
Didn't want to bring the podcast down. Needed Pork Chop Murphy to hang around.
Go get him, that man.
So I created a show with one heck of a plan, and I call that show ThatMan on Fatman.
ThatMan on Fatman.
Go get him, that man.
We're gonna talk about Kevin Smith.
ThatMan on Fatman. ThatMan on Fatman.
Go get him, that man.
We're gonna talk about Kevin Smith.
Go get him, that man.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to this episode 4 dash. Hang on. 25. This is the 25th episode of Season 4. Fast approaching a Season 5 because we do them on the annuals and it's in like February. It's like the day after or day of a daughter's birthday. Oh, well, anyway, hey, everybody. And sitting here in the studio with me is none other than co-host extraordinaire, producer, Jean Holden.
Hi, guys.
Sorry about that.
Do I get that on my voice, too? No.
You would if I threw the switch and did all the adjustments and all that stuff, yeah.
So it's fancy. Oh, nice. Hey, everybody.
Wow, episode 25. We're in the AM radio.
Sounds like we're in like a
CBS. Yeah. All right. Anyway. Wow. So, welcome to episode 25.
Yeah. Here we are.
Our guest today for this episode is, if you might remember back from, I think it was season 1, or it might have been season 2. Either way, it's been a while. Lisa Downs. And she is a awesome director of the documentary Life After Flash, about Flash Gordon. You guys all know one of my favorite films. Of course. So,
she's an independent filmmaker from the UK.
just like us, an independent filmmaker. And yeah. So
good people.
So what you'll notice is the interview, like there's like 10,000 things I realized after the fact I didn't ask about because we get kind of into a commiseration of sorts.
And it was nice. It was nice having somebody to bounce things off of and to totally relate to.
Yeah, and I think that as a result of this episode, like we managed to work with her to essentially try and connect them with Kevin Smith out there,
get things
out
rolling.
west.
Yeah,
she's gonna be doing a screening, and there's a bunch of folks that she would love to see.
Yeah.
And also with Mark Bernardin recently revealing all this
I know
stuff about on a recent episode of Fatman on Batman, saying how he had one of those moments during Flash Gordon
when he was young with his dad.
Yeah. So as a result of just interacting with Lisa and all that and helping her out, I think some of that may happen. I think they may be at the screening. And
I'm hoping everyone's paths cross.
Yeah, that would be so cool.
And they all connect because it's it just seems
it
like
would just be good for everybody all involved. And just
and it's an awesome connection for everybody.
And you get to meet a hero because I believe Flash and Dale.
Oh my God, wouldn't that be awesome?
Are going to be there.
I know. I love that.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. And Kevin and Mark and all those guys are just like fanboys, you know. So they that's what they.
Now, fortunately, I did get to talk to her about meeting Brian May. So that was that is like me, me like going crazy.
Yeah. That's a fun part of the interview.
Yeah. So you'll really, I really enjoyed this interview, even though it may not be an interview so much as a commiseration at points, but it's become a really cool thing. And as a result, there may be some guests that we'll talk about towards the end of the show that may come out of this.
Right.
So.
And she's very sweet and very British and very lovely. And
it's been a blast working with her and helping her out. And we really do hope that we're able to.
And just seeing the progression and just hearing the reality of all of it, because we've been experiencing the same thing. That it's, you go through different periods and different emotions.
Exactly. It was nice identifying.
Yeah, it's cool. And it, just like anything else, it makes you feel good identifying with someone.
Yeah, and she's at like the end of her run. Hers is ready to release.
Right. And we're pretty close. We have a little bit to go, but it's cool.
So why don't we, before we go on with that, why don't we go with the Smedlines?
And now, direct from the That Cave, we give you the Smedlines with Gene Holden.
Why, hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Smedlines. Well, let's start with the Kevin Smith.
It's so funny. All I have to do is play a jingle, and it becomes like, we've crossed a divide.
The Kevin Smith, Chris Hemsworth, crazy interview that was found.
Big news.
So basically, I actually have would we call it a SMA correction? I don't know. A SMETA correction? A SMETA correction?
We can call it an edgema correction. We can tip the hat to the great education Andy.
I accidentally said Will Wheaton, and it was Will Wilkins. Was the one who came across the tweet and.
Well, that's very different.
Right. So I do apologize. You may hear it in an upcoming upcoming episode too. So I apologize. It was Will Wilkins.
Shout out to Will Wilkins.
And awesome.
Again, it's always about, because of a podcast and the way it is, it really is hard to always remember. Like, Will Wilkins is a great guy.
Right.
And we've had him on, and I'm grateful that he's had us on his show. And until you just said that, it's like I hadn't really thought about Will in a while. And
Yeah.
but it's not because, oh, fuck Will. You know what I mean? It's just because this show gets so dense.
Well, and you just get busy. You know,
Yeah,
and
it's so hard to keep in touch with everybody that you interact with on a daily basis, on a regular basis.
Right. So I do apologize for that. But really, what came out, what this whole thing started was Chris Hemsworth was in an interview and basically gave Kevin Smith huge props as to why he just kind of like went with it this time with Thor, you know, and just kind of, gave it his all and kind of.
Well, what he said was
he cut his hair and he would.
He said it was sort of the inspiration up front. He wanted to take the character in a new direction. He wanted to be more, crazy with it, more, I guess, be more fun.
Right.
And be less heavy, be less, Shakespearean all the time.
So he credited Kevin Smith, and so Will Wilkins was just saying, where did he hear this from? And because he had heard about it, that Kevin was talking about, Thor and how, it could be so great. And so if anybody knows, I'm sure Kevin would love to have Chris Hemsworth on on Fatman on Batman or whatever.
It's also funny because recently Kevin compared Thor Ragnarok in a positive way to, he called it like a modern day Flash Gordon.
Oh my God. And now that we've seen it, I totally get that.
Yeah.
It was so much fun.
Because it's a lighter spirit.
It has a storyline. I kind of got a little lost because...
I mean, it's basically about Hela.
Yeah. It's really great. I mean, and everybody...
And I really liked her. I thought she was great. I loved the way she
was really intense.
She's over the top.
Yeah, she was totally
We're just fresh
intense,
from Ragnarok.
Which is good, too. But, I mean, and I think that she was doing it... I think she was doing that
to have
on
fun.
purpose.
Yeah.
She was definitely doing the overboard on purpose.
Love it.
Yeah. And Chris Hemsworth is a total babe. And the Hulk is a total babe. And I love, like Babelicious all
there
over
was
the
things
screen.
like, again, they were doing this weird... Like, they had... we're drifting into a bit of a Ragnarok review, so spoilers here. But nothing major, no major spoilers. But if you haven't seen it, you may want to either jump ahead or pause.
Right.
But there's a scene at the very beginning where he shows up on Asgard and Loki is but you don't know it's Loki yet. But it's a very strangely behaving Odin,
right?
Who's watching a play of but it's sort of a rewrite of the history.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a way to tell the backstory,
right?
And seems like they kind of definitely are tipping their hat to fucking Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah,
because they do that.
Yeah, they had a play just like that. But in this play is fucking
oh my God,
Matt Damon,
and
the guy from Jurassic Park, Sam
Shepard.
Sam Shepard, yeah, he's playing like the older Odin, and then I guess it's one of the other Hemsworth brothers.
Yes,
playing
Luke's Hemsworth. Yeah,
so
Luke,
they're watching this play. But the fact that it was a Matt Damon moment in the movie,
and it was
insane.
Weird because I remember seeing the face. And this is total spoilers, but I couldn't, I wasn't sure, so I didn't really want to, say it or believe it yet, that it was him. Yeah. But it was totally him, because you can tell it's Matt Damon.
Yep. Matt Damon!
Matt Damon,
so,
we love you.
That was
but yeah, it was really...
surprise.
I totally enjoyed it. I totally enjoyed it.
Yes. So, Matt Damon would qualify for Fatman on Batman. For Thatman on Fatman, because he's been in Kevin Smith movies.
Well, and Jeff Goldblum's in it, too, so he only adds, so much amazing.
Jeff Goldblum essentially steals the whole movie.
Listen, he just... there are no words because I love Jeff Goldblum anyway.
Yeah, he steals the show.
He's just amazing.
I mean, he's the final...
Kudos to you, sir.
He's the final stinger at the end. The final stinger.
Yeah. So. It's just great. It's just fun. So just go to have fun. Just escape from all the shit that's going on around us. Yeah. Right?
All right. So that was the first... hang on. Let me get ready to play the little sweeper noise. All right, so we'll use this today.
Oh.
So the next sweeper, the next story will be?
So it's official. Scum and Villainy, do we call it a club or do we call it a cantina? Is that what it's called?
I believe so. Yeah,
in L.A. is now the official home of Fatman on Batman.
Yes, so they're doing all shows there.
So all will be live, and it's fun because
not all will be live, but all will be recorded.
They're being recorded. Excuse me. Yes, but there will always be an audience, which is cool.
Not always, no, because there wasn't one for this one. So, but they'll just be doing it there. Whenever they record it, it'll be there, whether it's live or not live.
Oh, okay. So there is not. I apologize. There is not always an audience. I thought there was.
No.
Well, that's great that they have that option too, because it's hard sometimes to be able to do it at a time when there could be an audience. So.
But a cool reason to mention that is also because in the very near future, we plan to have the owner of the Scum and Villainy Bar on this very podcast. And I'm so psyched about that because this guy actually is. He's more involved than he may seem.
He's got some really cool stories.
Yeah.
And he's excited to share. And
and he's just
chat about Kev and all.
Yeah, he's been very supportive of the podcast. They follow us, and
we are in turn,
dig them, and
so
it's gonna be cool to have him on. I'm actually, it's one of those interviews. I'm really looking forward to. It's gonna be. I just get the vibe. It'll be fun.
I like how it kind of fell into all of this, confirmation that Fatman on Batman's going to be there, and so every week and all that. So it kind of
it all works out well.
It all works out. So okay, so
we get to plug ourselves too.
So let's go on to the next story.
Yay me! Hang on. Okay.
I bet.
Oh no, hang on.
Ooh ah.
There you go.
Okay,
that'll be the sweeper.
So this is the last story. Kind of is still in with the Fatman on Batman podcast. Try after you see Thor, go and watch Kevin and Mark talk about it because they really do a good job.
Yes,
kind of breaking it down, and of course they just love the entire thing. I almost think they love it more than I did, but I don't even care.
But what Cameron definitely loved it more than I did.
Oh my God,
and that's
Cameron
fine.
was
that's fine. I actually was happy to know that, but because I'm still Guardians 2 is so far probably my favorite of the Marvel franchise at this point.
I love that movie.
Yeah. So, but if this is the movie for Cameron, hey, I'm very happy that this was his.
Right.
And I get it. It's just I don't know if part of it was it felt like the audience we were in was kind of in a down mood.
We were in a very
quiet audience.
Down, quiet.
I was doing
a sleep audience.
I was doing some Cape Fear laughs, man. And I didn't mean to, but I was just the movie made me laugh and no one else was going. So I was going and If I kind of felt like we were like, hey, what's with the loud laugh guy? I mean, it was funny. It was funny.
Yeah.
Especially the fucking rock guy is hilarious.
Oh, he was great.
So
yeah, he was great.
He had me laughing most of the time.
I enjoyed it a whole lot.
Yeah. It's like anytime he's sort of like he's like the Chris Bain of the movie because Chris Bain every time he gets a laugh in Shooting Clerks.
Right.
I mean he's always spot on.
Right.
He was that guy in this.
Yeah.
The rock guy
Aww.
from New Zealand.
Chris Bain would love to hear that. It's very much a compliment. And it's true, too.
Yeah.
So, so go see Thor Ragnarok first and then go over to YouTube and watch Fatman on Batman, the Thor Ragnarok show, and check out what they say about it because they liked it and, it's just fun to check it out. So.
Indeed.
That's just my recommendation. And also my Instagram pick is check out Cardi B on Instagram because she's fun.
Oh, okay. So, Cardi B.
Cardi B.
I'll have to check out Cardi B.
Yeah, I like Cardi B. I like how she kind of did it her way. I know people don't like her. People just are judgy, and some people do love her, but I personally do love her, so.
Well, I say follow Susie Q.
You go. And Susie. Yeah, Susie. Susie Q, the Whorecast.
Yeah. Is it the Whorecast?
Yes.
I assume it is, though.
It is the
If
Whorecast.
you search on Instagram, you'll find her, and she's adorable.
The Whore Next Door.
She actually got her bangs down or something. She looked really cute.
Did she?
Yeah.
I wish
she
I
did
could
them
do
different.
bangs.
She kind of pointed them, she kind of had them so that they were...
Yeah.
Like kind of a V, but it looked really sexy. It looked very adult for her, if you know what I mean. You know how she's usually has a very cutesy...
Yeah.
Kind of, it made her look like...
More adult.
Yeah, if you know what I mean. Or more mature or more... more classic porn star.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? More slick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which was very sexy on her, don't get me wrong. But anyway.
Go, Susie.
Drifting into the wrong show.
With your bangs.
But since we're talking Instagram.
I'd like to get bangs. Maybe I will.
All right. Well, at this point, it's a good... we're done with the spend line?
We are. We're done. Yeah, it was just... That was my last story.
Awesome. Then let me just do this. So, it's so needed.
This has been the Smedlines with Gene Holden.
See, if we were really anal, we would time all these out, and they would write all that shit down. But you know what? Fuck that. No one's that. No. What we say is not.
Why do they do that?
It's not. Some people are really anal.
Okay.
Some people want everyone to know, like, what we talked about at this segment is very important because, people are really time-stamping our stuff.
Oh, okay.
I need to know exactly when you farted in the show.
I could tell them.
It was at 15 minutes and 30 seconds when you farted. Anyway.
That's personal.
Yeah. So anyway, speaking of farts, no. Actually, this woman would be as far from that as you could possibly think of.
No, she is far from a fart as you can get.
Oh, God. God, she's like, oh, my God. Is this how they introducing us?
No,
I think I might have to cut
She
into
has a sense of humor.
No, she's awesome. This woman is great. She's brilliant. She's beautiful. She's
She
smart.
really is.
She's smart. She's funny. And she's sexy. There you go.
And she's a director.
Yes.
You go.
And
so
I don't know why I threw sexy in there. I guess because that's
my
big word now.
Yeah, she is.
I'm all about sexy, baby.
All of
Groovy,
that,
baby, you're
all
sexy.
of, like that whole combination is very sexy.
Yes.
So
Austin Powers is about to be retro again. So
yeah, baby.
I'm ahead of the curve.
Should we shag now or shag later?
We should shag often, baby.
Yeah.
We do have to record Tales from the Swing.
Tales from the Swing.
We've decided we're going to do it in bed, baby, so maybe we'll shag during the show. First time for everything.
Yeah.
Baby. All right. Well, without any further ado, without my very bad.
So bad.
My very bad, Austin Powers. So bad I need reverb.
Oh my God. $1 million.
Yes. All right. Without any further ado, here is the very talented, the very cool, the very fun.
And very lovely.
Yes. Yes. Very lovely.
Very
and
lovely.
Brilliant.
And very brilliant.
Yes. The one, the only, Lisa Downs. Even Downs is like a British name. It feels like Downing Street and Downs.
Downs.
Yes.
Well, she's British.
It's not
so
ups,
That's how it goes.
British aren't ups. They're very downs. Everything's very downs. We're very level-headed. We're British. We won't bother you.
Yeah.
And we love our healthcare. Love it. Love our healthcare.
Are we still recording?
Yes. Here she is, Lisa Downs.
God.
She really is lovely. And I really
is.
do get it. And I loved helping her, and I'm glad. I hope everything works out. Here we go. Here she comes. Have fun.
And now, here's our guest.
All right. At this time, I want to welcome back to the show, a woman who is very a mover and a shaker out there across the pond. She is Lisa Downs, and you might remember her earlier because she was on the show saying that she was putting together a documentary on the film The Flash.
Yeah. Flash Gordon.
Flash Gordon. Oh, did I say that? Oh, God,
Flash
man.
Gordon,
I knew that, too. I love Flash Gordon. It's a movie to me that, like, I was 1980 when it came out. I was 10, and it hit me in all the right spots. To me, it was like the canon was like Star Wars, Clash of the Titans, and Flash Gordon.
Right.
Like, we're like the sword and sorcery movies that were in your canon. So,
yeah, and that's pretty much the exact story that everyone that I've spoken to has said, and it's amazing how it's affected people. Same, like I was 8, 9, 10. I went to the cinema. I saw it with my dad. The colors, the music.
Oh my God, the colors!
Yes.
I love the colors.
And it has just stuck. And that's what's been really one of the amazing things about this whole journey is that you see how people have, like, how Sam has really affected people. Like one of our EPs that came on board, Matt Paysan, he was just like, I have a hero in Sam as Flash when I was little, and now as an adult, I have a new type of hero in him. You know, the way he treats people, the way and it's just been amazing to see how Sam has affected like so many people with a film. You know,
Yeah.
pretty crazy.
What's funny about it too is it's gotten the status of cult film, but it's one of those cult films that everybody has seen. You know what I mean? Yeah. They used to play it so much on home box office that, it just, I know so much of that movie by heart.
We have it every Christmas in England.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Every Christmas. And that's how a lot of people who missed it in the cinema, because I didn't see it in the cinema. Because I'm a bit late.
You're a little younger.
I am too.
Late to the party.
Oh, who are you kidding?
But I remember it. I've never actually seen it on the big screen, but I remember it at Christmas. You know, and it was just the film that and Labyrinth you would watch every Christmas.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
See, that's something that's very British. That's not not here.
Thank you. We do try.
I like both those movies.
Yeah,
Being British is so much better.
Yes.
It has its perks in some elements, but we don't have solo cups, or Twinkies.
Well, you don't need that. You're good.
You don't have red Solo cups?
No, and I had my first solo cup in Texas on the shoot.
Oh, wow.
I know.
Wow.
How did that feel? Come on.
It was amazing. It was in San Antonio. And
so cute.
It was a moment. It was definitely
and it was red, right?
I love that.
It was red, and I just thought, because I grew up I was a 90s high school movie, growing up in my teens. And that to me was like, you have to have a red Solo cup. And we just never had them, and it was one of those, I really get like the movies.
What did you use, like a teacup instead of a red Solo cup?
No, we just had little white plastic ones.
Only cheesy.
Little picnic cups. Or straight from the box,
Well, I have adopted almost every British expression because I just find them better than
adorable.
What's your favorite then?
Cheers.
What's your
brilliant? I use brilliant a lot. And I use cheers now, too, as a closer.
Yeah.
And people even scold me, like, you're not British. Why are you saying that? It's like, so what? Cheers.
It sounds
Yay.
nice.
Because I didn't think that was just a British thing.
It really is more. Like, you'll see it here and there now.
Well, it's not really British people that scold you. It's Americans that scold you.
Yeah, it's Americans that scold you for using cheers, yes.
Yeah, Brits don't mind if you use it. It's the Americans that think you're trying to be British.
Exactly. Yes.
Well, you can try to be British, too, and use it. I'm not saying that.
I'm taking it back.
I'm taking it back.
One of my favorite Britishisms is, I think it's a northern thing, but instead of saying bye, you say ta-ra.
Ah, that's very British.
Oh, I love
Ta-ra.
that.
Ta-ra.
Toodles.
Well, you guys say huzzah, too, instead of hurrah.
I don't think they do. No.
Some, maybe. I don't know.
Lisa does not say huzzah.
I say ta-ra, though, sometimes.
Ta-ra.
If I'm talking to my mum, because we grew up in the north. It's like tra-chuk.
Okay.
Tra.
That's so cute.
All right, here's something very fascinating. Americans are the only ones who say Z.
The letter
It's
Z.
Z.
Instead of Z.
Yes, and the only reason is so it rhymes with the stupid song.
I mean, really? That's how... let's not even talk
We
about it.
changed a letter to make it fit a song.
Oh, well, that must. What song is it?
The ABC
the ABC song.
Oh, of course. I was thinking there was an All Saints song that I used to listen to growing up, and they said both, so it could rhyme in two different words, and so I was always confused which one to say.
Yes.
Hey, and our president makes it so easy to know what to say, right?
Yes. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're doing really well.
Girl.
All right, getting back to Flash here.
I love that. She's so sarcastic.
Flash. Oh, my God. Were you able to get any of the guys from Queen?
We got Brian May.
Yes,
I love you.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, Brian
The
May.
greatest guitar player on the planet.
He's amazing.
His rock
Super
sound.
nice. I mean, and this is a good example of why it sometimes takes a long time to do, a film, because it took us like 2 years to get hold of him.
Oh, yeah, I believe it. I believe it.
Let
me ask you, though.
Sorry.
What we've sort of... first we noticed it from the show, and then it was very transferable to the documentary. I call it's like video gaming. Like, you have to down a boss. You have to take down a boss, and then once you've taken down a boss, everyone kind of goes, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
And then you can get a bigger boss.
Right.
Yeah. That was it. We were lucky that it was shot in the UK, so we started to get, some of the crew and some of the smaller cast, and and then it would build, and then we'd go to Comic-Cons and get more kind of celebrities who were fans, and then it would build, and then it got to a point where, you can go then for, like the big fish.
Yeah.
So, but but the thing about Brian though, was
oh my God,
I hate you.
Brian May from
hate
Queen.
you.
I know, I'm still like
you.
that.
That's
But
how
he genuinely, I don't think was thinking, well, who else do you have in it? He loved the idea. As soon as I managed to get hold of him, loved the idea of it. It took 6 months to get his schedule.
Of course.
We had 6 interviews.
This is the Kevin Smith thing here, and
Yeah,
Neil
exactly.
deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it had to be rescheduled 5 times before we managed to get him. And we went to his house, and it was amazing.
Oh my
and
God.
it's like the throne, Queen's throne, and it's just, it was an incredible house and experience. And he was so nice, but it was genuinely because he loves his work on the film. He loves their work. He's so proud of it. He's like, oh, I'll just go and shave. Hang on. And he came out in his Flash t-shirt and said,
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
We're like dying.
So you have no idea. Brian May, to me, like, besides his actual talent, the man defined the sound of the electric guitar. I mean, it's perfect. Like, you want to say, what's a perfect guitar sound in rock? It is Brian May, without a doubt.
Oh my God, Lisa.
And he was another one that I said I cannot finish it without him.
Yeah,
Right.
okay, I believe that.
You
I'll
can.
do what it takes, but you just have to. You have to just keep going. And 2016 for me was quite an interesting year because I had massive ups and downs with the film because I had done my first crowdfunding. We had shot. I was in that awkward limbo of I didn't have another shoot overseas to do. I was trying to get some big names.
You don't have enough money.
I don't have enough money. And I was at the point where I was resenting it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know that. Yeah, I can totally identify with this.
And because it started with the editing process of, I'll just organize the files for when we get an editor. And then it was, well, I'll just start laying down the interviews.
Oh, then you're better than me.
And then, but then it got to a point where
every time I did that, I quickly would get upset with myself and be like, no, if you start, no.
Yeah, but I didn't have a choice. And eventually my producer said to me, you are going to have to edit this yourself. And I was like, no, it's fine. Something will happen. It'll come up, but I'll just keep, building the foundations for someone. And obviously
that was always my plan.
Yeah.
My plan was always to edit myself, but for our document, somewhere along the line, I felt like, you know what? I want to let this go.
Because it's hard to pick your work out of something and take it out.
And also, like, it does become overwhelming. Like, I got to do 10,000 things and edit.
But it was, I just couldn't afford an editor.
Yeah, well,
what it came down to. And
it's
so I didn't
expensive,
have to.
yeah.
But in hindsight, I'm really pleased that I did because I feel like it's like mine now.
You learned the tool too.
So did you? You've been editing
I could
yourself?
edit. I used to direct music videos and I edited them myself. And I could edit, but I'm not super technical. So with settings or exports or there are people that know much more than I do. But I know how to edit. Using the program. So it wasn't a problem for me for editing. It was trying to get my head around separating. Then
what'd you edit on, if you don't mind me asking?
Premiere Pro.
Okay.
Because as soon as Final Cut X came out, I couldn't understand it, so I had to move.
See, I went the other way. It's so funny.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because
it's like learning a whole new language, and it just didn't do it for me.
Well, I had such an iMovie background already, and basically it's just an upgraded iMovie.
Yeah, the old Final Cut I loved.
Well,
but they changed it, and there was weird blue lines.
Yeah, I heard all about that, but since I had the old Final Cut and just never had a project big enough to crack that open. You know what I mean? Because there's so much. If you remember the old box set, it was like there's 15 other things in there.
Yeah, I know. I loved it, and I just thought they ruined it. So
yeah,
it was.
But I was the other end. People would complain, "Oh, it's too easy now." I'm like, how is that a bad thing?
Yeah. Maybe they liked the challenge, but that was, and it just became a year that I really resented the film.
And you go through that too.
I can so identify.
Yeah, trying to structure a feature in my head, I hadn't done it before. I kind of knew the story I wanted to tell, but I'm really pleased that I did it.
Yeah,
in the
absolutely.
End, but it was a struggle.
Yeah. Yeah,
it is.
I the little violin coming out.
My hat's off. My hat's off to you. I mean, like I said, originally my plan was to edit it myself, but along the way, I found it to be, well, first of all, I don't know the tool as well as Michael. And it just, I also want to...
It's nice to be objective, too. I was so close to it. I started cutting things that I assumed people knew and they didn't. And I was cutting major points and, you know, and it was, and then I wanted it too long. And, you know, it is nice. Like, it's good to be objective. And, you know, it's a completely different edit when someone else takes it on and they probably did things that you went, oh, I didn't think about that.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Someone with it too.
With seeing Michael's first assembly cut. Is going to be seeing...
you can go and have a cup of tea and hang out and relax, and then he does all the work, and you come back and just sit back and watch it.
And give him notes.
That's the part that I like. I like just sitting back and watching it.
And give notes.
What a luxury that is.
Yes. Well, there's been a lot of work going in the front end, so I don't have.
No, I know.
I don't feel that guilty about sitting back for 5 minutes.
I'm kidding.
We're starting a short today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like along the way, like some of the people that we interviewed for our documentary, like they had this essentially it's a small theater, and they had this marionette guy, and it's like this just feels like a dying art that just needs to be captured. So we're putting
really
a short film together for that.
And what's your time frame for that?
Well, since I will edit that one, and I'm only planning for it to be about 20 minutes to 30 minutes, I'm hoping 6 months.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So, about 6 months, yeah. It shouldn't take longer than that.
And that's exciting, though. It's nice to be in a position where you could just go, you know, what do I want to make? What story do I want to tell?
Yeah.
And you can do it because you have the tools, and we're in an age now that you don't have to buy stock, and we don't have to buy expensive cameras, and
they're so excited.
Hang on, it's funny because we saw Kevin speak. He did an open mic, or not open mic.
You on first name?
Yeah. See, isn't that funny? You're the second person who's done that lately to me, because so I refer to Kevin as Kevin. I had a friend say, someone I met recently say, you talk like him like you know him. I'm like, I do. That's
Isn't that weird? I know.
But it's the thing, isn't it, with famous people? You have to say the full name. It's a famous person thing, and it's weird to me even now, like with Sam.
Well, dude, there's so many. Every time Kevin would say my name, the first thing that would always go through my name is, he knows my name.
Yeah.
You know, and recently on a podcast, they read a question of mine, and they said, the next question is from ThatMan on Fatman. He's like, oh, cool, Scott Holden. Yay! I was like, oh my God, he knows my Twitter name too.
Isn't it funny with, like, we do that with celebrities?
Yes, we put them on some pedestal.
But right, I mean, in a way, rightly so. You know, they've done amazing things, but
you met Brian May though.
Yeah,
Brian May from fucking Queen. How can you get over that?
He played the piano for us while we were there.
Oh my God. I would have just died then. Like this is my. I can die now.
Did you pull the hair?
No.
I'm curious.
I could do that. Never do that. It was a very surreal moment sitting there while he was playing Flash on the piano.
It would be so funny if he yanked his wig off or something.
Can you stop?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a wig, but...
No, it's not a wig. And then at the end, he was like, have you seen our pinball machine? And so we went and played his Flash Gordon pinball machine in his bag.
Oh, my God, Lisa.
Oh, my God. Did you get footage of that?
It might be in the end credits of the film.
I love that.
Do you stick around?
That would have blown me away. All of that would have just blown me away.
It was. And it was moments like that I had to, throughout this whole thing, when I was having my huge resentment in 2016 for it, that I had to just stop myself. And it was a turning point, actually. I stopped and went, you know what? I shouldn't feel like this because I'm the only person in the world that's doing a story like Sam has said yes to. I'm meeting all these amazing people. Like Topol was singing to us in the car when he was driving us to his charity in Israel.
Oh, my God, Topol. That's right.
Oh, my God. When does that happen?
He is also in my favorite of all time James Bond movies.
Yes.
What was it? For Your Eyes Only.
Yeah, I thought it was You to Kill, but it is For Your Eyes Only. It was just so surreal, and I just thought how selfish of me to be resenting this experience. So I had to do a complete turn. And after I did that, like people started confirming interviews and things started happening again, and it did feel like a blockage had been lifted.
It was just how you changed your attitude towards it.
Yeah,
how you were
because
looking at
I
it.
mean, how lucky am I for these people to be giving their time? They don't have to, for a film that meant so much to me growing up, and it was just,
and you're finding out it meant just as much to them. too.
I've been right all these years.
I know, and it was a really nice thing to do. And so when I have moments like that with Brian, you just think how pinch myself, take it in.
I love that you say that. Scott's like green with envy over here.
Well, I mean, you have no idea. Like,
Queen's amazing.
Do you understand? You're talking to a guy whose first 45 ever, first record, I remember the Christmas, it was 1976. I got this record player. First 45 I opened, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
No.
So her next documentary is going to be
for the rest
Brian
of my
May
life.
documentary.
Yeah, Queen has been such
Are you excited about the Queen film that's
Oh
coming
my
out?
Yeah, I am.
I am so excited. I am like, there aren't any words because he's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Who is the gentleman from iRobot's going to play?
Mr. Robot. Is it Mr. or iRobot?
I'm
Mr.
sorry,
Robot.
it's
Mr.
Mr.
Robot.
Robot. I apologize.
Because I called it iRobot yesterday. I was like, maybe I was right.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Well,
maybe you were right.
Isn't that a book?
No, both of us were wrong.
iRobot is a book. It's a famous science fiction book. That's why.
Like it should be right.
It should be iRobot. Yeah, they should.
That's a famous science fiction book.
It should be interesting. And it's he looks so much like Freddie.
He does, right?
You know, it's funny because I thought that the guy who did what was it? Who did all those strange mockumentaries? Now I can't think of his name. He played the dictator from a made-up foreign.
Sacha Baron Cohen. He was supposed to do it. Wasn't he?
Yes.
Was he?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, I think they had creative differences.
Oh, he would have been amazing too.
He left the project.
Yeah, because I think he was producing it or doing trying to get it off the ground. Like he wasn't just being cast in it. He was kind of leading it. But I don't.
Oh, I remember.
Don't quote me on that.
I remember the point I wanted to bring up because I said, okay, so we went to see Kevin do a Q&A not too long ago. Okay, now so towards the end of the Q&A, a kid gets up and starts talking to him about wanting to be a filmmaker and a scriptwriter, and he goes on to say that he wrote this Batman script, and Kevin's like, well, first of all, first problem, you realize you're writing a movie with someone else's property.
Yeah.
But what he did go on to say is, listen, if you have a good movie idea nowadays, the best thing to do is expand it into a series. Because right now, the only thing people are buying, and I was so happy, he's like, are series and documentaries.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible how popular documentaries
They are.
Thank you, Netflix. Thank you, Amazon Prime. Because people want to learn things when they walk away from the TV.
They sure
Completely. But lucky for us, too. In a way, it seems to be a time where these fan films are coming out. Because Ghost Heads, and then obviously Back in Time, and then, and it
or like the
the
movie about Superman Lives. Did you see that one?
I haven't seen that one.
That's interesting. It's about a movie that never got made.
Isn't that amazing? They can do.
Is that June one, or is that another one that I'm thinking of?
It's about Kevin. Kevin's in it too, but because he wrote a script for Superman at one point. Kevin Smith is in it. Sorry. Should I just call him That Man or Fat Man?
No, just call him Kev.
Kev, yo Kev.
Kev
Dog.
No, I've watched it. I've heard it's good, but I haven't seen it.
Yes, it's decent. I liked it. I don't even know why I brought it up now.
I don't either.
Oh, because you can make a documentary about anything. That's right.
Yeah, and you can, because you can just, if we had to wait to get the full budget, it never would have happened.
Yeah, and that's
the thing with this is we just started shooting, and we just did one interview after another, putting one foot in front of the other, and then just seeing what happened.
And I kind of wonder how long before this bubble bursts, because in the past, the reason, and that's the other thing I've noticed about documentary filmmaking, you don't have to pay anybody. Because it's considered an honor.
Yeah.
In the old days,
I guess it depends if
you were spending a lot of money on film, so you were eating it. But that film part has gone away, which was the biggest, stumbling block in documentary filmmaking, was having film stock.
Yeah, exactly.
So now, I mean,
you can do it on an iPhone now. I think they have festivals where they have iPhone competitions.
Do they really?
Like iPhone sections, yeah. There's one here that you have to shoot on the iPhone.
So
it's really
Wow.
that means
doesn't mean the films are good.
what
But,
that I was going to say what that means though is the value
true.
of content will go down.
Oh, but so I was thinking about this the other day. Obviously, the more people, the more content. But people who have like amazing talent that maybe couldn't afford it could be showcased.
Oh, I agree. I agree.
Because, you know,
Absolutely.
but
But-
then obviously you have to probably sift through a lot more.
I was going to say,
find-
yeah, but the downside is now you have to, stand out amongst a sea,
Right.
an ocean.
Well,
of
those
stuff.
people have to be able to market themselves somehow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or wherever. I mean, it's usually not Facebook, but Instagram and and
But you
Twitter.
see that too with like in the crowdfunding, like Indiegogo or Kickstarter. It just, I feel like that bubble has burst a little bit. But
Oh,
Right.
totally. Oh, yeah.
There was a wave of just constant.
That's what I wanted to say before when we were talking about it. I meant to say, I think when you and I got into it, we sort of missed the peak.
Yeah,
like
I agree.
only just like even by
like
a
barely,
year.
I know.
It's
But
amazing.
it almost might be a good thing because maybe it was oversaturated and
Oh,
people
yeah.
just get sick of it, And there was, I remember just seeing like on Facebook, just every second thing was crowdfunding.
Everybody's begging.
I know.
Everybody's
And I hate,
begging.
I hate that word though.
We were
And that's
too.
what it is.
I know, but it puts such a negative
But it's
thing on it.
begging. It's actually begging. That's what you're
Well,
e-begging.
It's but we're making something. It's
And
not
it was-
like we're
I
just
know.
like a handout.
I wouldn't do it again though.
I wouldn't either.
It's
because
so
And it's so funny because
I hate it.
someone over here has suggested possibly doing another campaign. But
Yeah.
I'm
Just-
Good luck.
exactly. It's like
Oh.
we went to the trough once. Do you think anyone is going to be like, "Yeah, we're going to give you some more now"?
It's
Yeah.
like draining.
Because that was as hard, that was as much of a job as doing the film. Like I spent
I mean-
half my life at the post office and rolling posters and, answering emails about when something's going to arrive and getting things signed. And like we shot a workout with Sam that, we had to shoot and then edit. And I probably didn't think through the pledges very well.
No,
in
no,
terms of
you don't.
time.
We,
So it is like and there's stuff like on my last one.
It's
like
so
a
funny,
book
too.
of the making of, and now I thought, oh God, I've got to write a book.
and now think,
Yeah.
now you have to become an expert in everything.
I know.
Filmmaking,
I know.
marketing, how to do it, crowdsourcing.
I do know very well how to mass post things.
I was gonna say mail shit.
Very efficiently. I'm very good at that
Yeah.
now. Because
I'm not good at that part, but that's where I fall
can
down.
use posters very well.
We had.
Yeah, every cloud.
Did you see Clerks 2?
Oh, I did, but years ago.
Okay, so there was a young guy in it named what's Trevor's last name, Gene? I can't remember right. Trevor Furman.
Trevor Furman, yes.
Now he is a big video game guy, and went to Kevin Smith and essentially asked him for the ability to make a Kevin Smith video game with other developers. And so we had him on, and he was talking about it, and that's one of the things that he brought up that was so true. It's like, doing social media now really requires an expert.
Yeah, and
You
they have them, don't they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you need someone just to work that piece if you want it to be successful.
Yep.
And that's what he
It's
was doing.
exhausting.
Yeah, it's
It really
exactly.
is.
It's like shit. Now another thing, and hey, I also have to learn how to be how to do PR because I'm on Twitter and I'm it's like
Yeah,
every
exactly. Because that's part of like what I found with looking into selling this is that people want the instant audience as well with your film. So I was lucky for the sense that I
Me
had
too.
started building up this community from 2015.
That's right.
Which is good, but then I was thinking, well, what if I didn't have all these names in the film? What if I didn't have that audience? Like how tricky and how hard must it be to try and fight your way to the top, isn't it? And I haven't fought my way to the top yet either. And
Had anyone suggested maybe doing a podcast?
I had thought about it. I just thought it's another thing.
It's another thing I got to do. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like
I
another-
agree.
I've got to build an audience for that, and then I did think about it, but I just have no idea how to do one.
I'm glad it went the other way around for us because,
Yeah.
since the podcast was already there, that helped.
Exactly. I'll just utilize everyone else's audience that you worked so hard to build.
And you can do that now.
Yeah,
You could probably do a podcast a day.
It's exhausting thinking about. To be honest, it's exhausting. I have much.
Like I already want to get off of this interview.
It's the American thing. I get it.
Yes, we are ugly Americans.
Yeah, she's totally.
You know what? I do love America, and I wish well, we're going back there soon, but I wish I could live there. And you won't have me because I can't apply for a green card.
How
which
come?
Makes me sad. Because I think you have your quota of Brits there.
Oh, see, I don't even know
you
this.
only
You know
allow
what?
a
This is
certain
embarrassing. I hate this president. Can I tell you this? He's a.
Well, we don't know that it's necessarily his fault.
I don't
That's why.
care, but he makes people not want to.
But
come
I hate
here.
him too.
Well, actually, I still really want to come, but it happened. It's been like that for a while. I don't know if it's changed. I haven't looked, but last year I looked and I couldn't apply.
I blame him for
Well,
everything.
trust me, you could come here and be illegal. They'll never give you a second look.
I would love to. I just love literally everything about it.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
It's an amazing country.
We probably want to move to England because we want health care.
You should have a system. Actually, our healthcare is amazing, to be fair.
Oh my
But
God.
you should have a system where you could just passport swap for 6 months.
Why not?
I agree.
You know, one in, one out.
While I'm there,
I love
get
that
all my
idea.
medical ailments repaired and fixed.
It's hideous, the fact that the people in this country are treated the way they're treated.
You have to sell houses to if you break a bone, don't you? Over.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Do you
have
know-
to give your firstborn to get your.
Yeah.
Do you know Scott Thompson from The Kids in the Hall? And also, he was on Larry Sanders Show.
Larry Sanders Show.
I remember Larry Sanders
Uh-huh.
Show. I don't recognize his name, but I maybe know his face.
He's a very famous. He was a comic from Kids in the Hall, but he's also an out gay man. At a time in the '90s when there weren't a lot of that. But so we had him on the show. He's a Canadian.
He's in the movie, the documentary.
And we interviewed him in Canada. He was actually he just become cancer free and was about to go back to L.A. And he said, if I wasn't Canadian, I'd probably be dead.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Because he stayed in
he
Canada
moved
to
home
get better,
to-
and then he moved to L.A. Now he's doing amazing in L.A. now.
Yeah.
He's better. He's succeeding in L.A., but he needed to stay in Canada to get better. It's the
So-
only way he would have gotten better.
If you can live without medical, come on down.
Yeah. Well, I would. I can just fly back to England if I get sick.
Oh, that's
but
true.
I would, if I could choose to live somewhere, I would like a ranch in Montana. With my solo cups and a rocking chair with the American flag on the porch, a white wraparound porch.
Have Sam come by.
Hang
With some,
out.
what do you call it? Fireball whiskey.
You could have that.
Have Sam and Bry come by.
She's like a hips. She's like a
Exactly.
she's like a hipster already, and she hasn't even gotten here yet.
I love it. I just love it. But, yeah.
What was
Sam and
by
Brian come on.
Sam and Bry can hang out.
Yeah.
what was the most
I love that.
I guess memorable either because it was exciting or shocking or funny or whatever. What was the most outstanding memory you have of your experience so far filming?
Oh, that's a tough question. That's a really tough question.
Well, if you have a few, you could say.
One in particular, I guess, one in particular that stands out just because it was so new and it was still it was Sam, that's Flash. It wasn't Sam.
Yes.
It was, that's Flash Gordon. It was when we were our very first shoot in Laredo, and I was panicking that he wouldn't like me because it was almost like we went there to kind of meet him, talk about the crowdfunding, but there was an element of, I guess, if he wasn't comfortable, I'm sure he wouldn't go through with it. So I had this kind of panic attack beforehand going, what if he doesn't like me? What if he hates me? What if I say something stupid? Because sometimes I do say stupid things.
Of course.
If I'm nervous.
We all
I
do,
say,
yeah.
And it's
so cute.
not inappropriate, but I do say things that I regret.
So do I.
and so we had met him, and then we had dinner that night with Melody as well. And I just had this
Oh my
moment.
God, Melody.
I had this moment halfway through dinner that I had to go to the bathroom to have some space because I just thought I'm at dinner with Flash and Dale and I don't know what to say.
Oh my God.
And it was a really surreal moment for me that I had to kind of pinch myself and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if I can do this.
Hey, you're questioning
they're
yourself.
And the thing is, they're so nice too that they just talk to you like, a person,
Yeah.
not a fan. And so that kind of made it worse for me that I couldn't just be a fan.
And you couldn't really fangirl out. You had to be professional.
Yeah, and so that was one of, I guess, the best and the worst moments because it was the very start of it, and I didn't know what was happening, and it was very overwhelming, and I was very scared of like, well, if he wants to do it, then I have to do it. You know, this is actually going to happen. I can't just shy away. Oh, you know, it's a good idea, but you know,
How did they what was their interaction like? You know,
Excuse me.
Were they close? Were they distant? Or you know, was it casual?
So close.
Oh
They're
my
like brother
God.
and sister.
Really?
Like,
But the way they were in the movie, they were amazing in the movie
so
together.
they see each other a lot at cons, and we had our private screening in the UK at the beginning of the month, and so Melody came out for that too, and it was just, I mean, they're so amazing people, and they are like brother and sister, and they make fun of each other and they vibe off each other, but it was, they're really amazing people. And Melody when I first saw her, she came over and she's like, oh, hi, and gave me a hug. I was like, I met you already before, but that's just how she greets people, is that you feel like you've kind of known her. And so I think
she's a therapist now, though, isn't she?
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, I read that somewhere.
She's been doing it for about 20 years.
Oh
if
my
you watch the film, you'll find out. But so I think that one, and I think Topol singing in the car to me as well was like, we had a couple of hour drive going up to his charity that he runs up there he runs like a summer camp. After talking to Paul Newman, he started a charity for terminally ill kids, like no money, it doesn't cost them anything. He, you know, funds the whole thing. And so that was pretty cool. You know, that was one of those weird moments of, is this actually happening? You know,
Right.
Like, it's Topol, you know, sitting.
Oh my God.
Singing in the front of the car. And then obviously Brian playing the piano too was
That's got to be like an out of body experience.
Yeah, the Brian May experience for me would be so flooring.
I'm like, when is Freddie Mercury going to appear?
And when you wind the clock back 10 years.
I know.
Exactly. I think another one, probably the main one that recently stands out, is when we had the UK screening, because it was the first time, like, you see all that work on the screen. I got really overwhelmed. I said, my producer Ash was sitting next to me, and I was like, I'm going to cry.
Yes, I can imagine that.
And you know, and it was just nice. And it's also, people say, you know, really take in the first screening you have with family and friends, because no one's going to say anything negative. Everyone's going to love it. And
the crying part.
Well, that's.
Yeah. Well, so that was really special, I think, to finally, like, be able to sit back and, you know, I was looking at it going, I wish I'd cut that shot out, or wish I'd shortened that. That graphic wasn't quite right, but.
Oh God, I'm so sick of this scene.
Yeah, I know. So that was, I think, one of the highlights, probably, was seeing it, like, hearing people laugh when you hope they laugh, and then hearing people laugh when you didn't think they would, and people were crying, and so it was
wow.
Good.
All right, what was the biggest baby you had to kill?
What do you mean?
Oh, you don't know the expression.
It's in, like, something that was really close to me that I had to.
In editing,
you had to cut it. Yeah.
Oh, I see. I thought it was like baby.
Oh my God, that's horrible.
My baby wasn't British. I don't know if they say that there.
I've not heard that expression, but I get it. Like, it makes sense, doesn't it? Oh,
yeah, you kill your babies.
Yeah.
Yeah. To be honest, there's two interviews that I really enjoyed, and I liked them because they added humor to the film, which I haven't really found too many documentaries which are funny, and I do genuinely feel like this one is funny.
It should be, because the subject matter is light. It was a camp movie.
Yeah, it's very campy.
So we have Brian Blessed, who I asked him 2 questions and he spoke for an hour and a half. Like, that was
it's like Kevin.
Yeah, and then we had
she loves that.
And then we had these 2 people, Rich Fulcher, who's a comedian and actor, and then Jason Lindsay, who they're friends anyway. He set up a company called Biff Bang Pow, so he does Flash merchandise, and he, you know, has a long Flash Gordon history. And so those 2, and then Brian, was so funny that I found myself putting in a lot of them just because I thought the sections were really funny, even though they didn't have, you know, I don't want to say much relevance, but I created scenes to put in certain comments of theirs, and then I had to cut a lot of it out because it just was getting too long, and
it seemed contrived.
Yeah. So there was a lot of their stories and their humor that I didn't want to cut because I wanted to make sure. I mean, there's a lot still in it, but I had to cut a lot of, like, Brian's stories out. And, you know, when he's talking about, you know, I won't say they'll come out in special features, but some are just quite naughty. And so, yeah, that was tough. Like I was quite lucky that nearly everyone I interviewed made it in. But obviously I would have liked to extend more scenes, like Tobel in Israel and his charity. I might do a little short film on that, but generally it wasn't too bad. It was really just trimming it down. Like I had my first cut, it was 2 hours 15. And
I was going to ask, what was your first assembly? I was just waiting.
15. Yeah. And I said to my producer, I was like, you know what? I think it's done. You know, I'm happy with it. He's like, no.
What's the final runtime so far?
It's now an hour 43.
Oh,
because then afterwards, I said,
I'm already realizing.
I said, okay, well, if you want me to cut it, let me make it the same length as Flash Gordon, which is an hour 54. He was like,
I love that idea.
He's like 9 minutes. I said, well, don't pressure me. Let me, So then I cut it down to an hour 54, like on the dot. I was like, I think it's done. He's like, nope, keep going, snip, snip. And so I have to.
So funny.
Cutting it. And even after
I think all documentary filmmakers are alike.
Even after the screening, he's like, you know what? I've seen it objectively. Here are some scenes that you could cut down, and that easily another 10 minutes. I was like, well, just let it breathe. Let me see. So. Yeah, I think I was quite lucky that not too many people made the cutting floor.
That's
so
good.
Yeah, but it is tricky. It's so hard, and there's that element of, because you want names in it. Maybe it's easier to sell if there's more names or whatever. But there was a thing of, am I putting them in just because they're famous? Are they adding to the story? It was hard because some people.
Did you have any negative? Did you have any? Because we had, I think, 2. We had about 2 interviews that just, for whatever reason, didn't go well. And some of it was chemistry. Some of it was just, I can't even tell you why, but they just went bad. Did you have any of that?
No, to be honest, we were really lucky because people, outside of the Comic-Cons genuinely loved the film.
Right.
And that's why we were doing it. People at the Comic-Cons, it was a mixed bag. There were people that just flat out said no, that they didn't want to be interviewed. A couple of people we spoke hadn't seen Flash Gordon, but we interviewed them on the basis of like Comic-Cons and stuff. So they were quite happy to talk. There was someone that we interviewed that was fine and loved the film, but he was not in a good place personally when we interviewed him. Yeah. So when it came to like releasing, they kind of said, you know what, we'd rather it not be in there because
and that can happen too.
Stuff that was happening at the time, which is, fair enough. It's a shame.
And it
was
makes
a good interview. Mm-hmm. So that was, but actually interviewing him, he was like super nice. And so in terms of like bad interviews, not really. Sometimes the reactions from people when they're saying no hasn't been good.
Okay.
Right.
But people who have said yes to the interview have like genuinely wanted to be interviewed for it, which has been good.
Yeah.
Have you?
We had 2 bad interviews.
2, you said.
Yeah, we had 2 bad interviews. Why
were they bad?
One was very okay. Well, first of all, Gene and I are openly bisexual, and we talk about it. We even have a show about that whole thing.
Right.
And so many shows.
And this person, it's called Tales from the Swing. But one of the guys we were interviewing was like this right-wing political guy.
Right.
And at some point, I guess I let it slip, and just like his whole tone changed. I mean, essentially, he was a homophobe. But
he got very ugly.
Yeah. And, I have it too. But I knew as I'm interviewing, I'm like, oh, boy, wow, you just talked yourself right out of the movie.
Oh, that's such a shame, isn't it?
Yeah.
But isn't it funny how you just, like, someone can change? Like, you think, well, what's changed? Like, if I hadn't told you, you'd be fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So isn't it funny that something like that just completely changed?
Oh, yeah. I watched someone essentially, be prejudiced against me.
Right. And it makes sense, though, after the fact. It totally makes sense because it fits into his, his way, his politics and all that. Like, it's just...
Did his answers become very short after that as well and dismissive?
No, he actually went out of his way.
He doubled down
to insult me.
Yeah, he doubled down.
Yeah, he threw in the word faggot. It
was a double down kind of thing.
Yeah, it was amazing.
That's awful. I would release that interview. I was picking up everywhere.
See, now that's the thing. That could, like later on be.
I don't think that would bother this guy. Let me ask you this: how can we help you besides other than spread the word? Like where should we tell people to go? What can we tell people to do to get this movie to them?
At this stage, it's just, I guess, being part of the community. Because we obviously have the Facebook page, which is if you just search Life After Flash, and we have the Twitter, which is Life After Flash. It's clever how that works.
Yes.
And it's just, if you have friends who work for big distribution networks, that's a great way to start. But at this stage, it's just we need to just try and sell it now and get it out there. So.
It seems. Here's another thing I'm discovering. I think we may be at like a year late on the documentary thing now too.
What do you mean?
It just seems like maybe a couple years ago these would have sold faster.
Really?
Yeah, I'm getting that because
I think documentaries are like getting, if it is a bubble. I read this whole thing that it was a bubble the other day, but I think it's still growing.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
I really do. But I think it's very much weighted. What I found, like applying for a lot of festivals, was that people at the moment still want really hard-hitting, war stories, environmental, and it's, if I struggle, it maybe be because it isn't like a topical, in a sense that, we're not saving whales or poaching or.
But you're bringing joy.
I mean, I haven't seen a second of film, so I really can't say. But just the idea alone,
have you seen our trailer?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Sorry. I've seen the trailer. Yes.
But it is like, I think on the top level, someone might go, "Oh, it's a film about Flash Gordon," but we have tried to put like. Sam's story is a story about what Hollywood does to someone, what an ego does to someone, what it's like to be an actor in your first film,
right.
How that can get to you, and
it's amazing.
Kind of, if you hit rock bottom, how do you get out of that? And so
right.
I was hoping that without the making of elements in there, it could still stand alone as a story of someone's redemption.
Yeah, it's so funny because
I love redemption stories.
As I'm thinking about the two like movies I've been very excited about. One was shooting Clerks, which I managed to get myself in and all that, and the second one is yours, and they're both from England, from UK, and it's American shit. That makes no sense.
Good old Britain.
Yes.
I mean, it is interesting. I forget sometimes that Flash was shot in the UK, but it's a very British film. But the fact that shooting Clerks was done surprises me. I didn't know that.
Scotland.
It was done in Scotland.
Half of it.
And that must have been really tricky because we obviously struggled shooting. Like, how do you do a story about someone in San Diego when you're living in, on the south coast of England?
Yeah.
Right.
Without any budget. So I don't know how they did it.
They had to recreate New Jersey and Scotland. They're in the same boat now. They're trying to, get it sold. But they're doing the film festival thing, and it wins festivals. So
right.
I mean, that seems to be a good way to do it now. Is if you get into like a festival is obviously the best chance of, well, maybe best chance of selling it, but it's definitely a really good option for it. But there are so many, there are just so many options, and even with streaming. So if you don't go for theatrical release, you can self-distribute, or there are companies that you can do DVD deals with to sell, or just go to Amazon or iTunes, or Netflix, or YouTube Red, or Facebook are doing it now. And there are so many ways that you could do it that it's, I guess it depends what you want out of it. Do you want it to be seen? Do you want to make money? Do you want to just kickstart your career?
All of that.
I would like it to be seen. It would be nice to make money.
All of the above.
It would just be nice. It'd be nice to at least break even.
Right. Well, this is the way I look at Flash, and you were just talking, Lisa, about going to the going to Sundance and just being it not being an environmental movie, but the way I look at it is, and lately there's so many nostalgic movies, shows that are making people so happy, and more than ever, people want that. They want to feel like they did when they were 10.
Yeah.
Star Wars, Stranger Things, all that stuff kind of brings you back.
Because all the studio heads were grew up with those films.
Yeah,
which is why there's so many superhero films. Isn't there?
It's so true.
We're at that age now. It's like, I guess, why Westerns were so popular at one point, and then, it goes through phases. But we're very lucky in that sense that all the people that grew up loving it are now commissioning things.
And it's so funny too, because for me now, like when I look to a superhero movie, I want to see superhero movies that are doing something different with the genre.
Yeah, like Guardians.
Yeah, like I love Guardians.
Guardians. So funny. One of the few sequels that I thought were better than the original.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Such a great movie.
As I got to tell Sean Gunn, I said, hot tears are coming down my face the last 20 minutes of that movie.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
And for have a superhero film that I was nearly in tears in.
Oh.
It was. Wow. I was like, this isn't supposed to happen. And then Groot was just genius.
Michael
Whoever
Rooker.
designed him.
Right.
Michael Rooker was amazing.
Michael Rooker, he's the bad father who tells you everything you wanted to hear. Everything that the bad father had ever needed to tell you. He tells you.
Oh,
he was very good in it.
Oh,
so.
it was amazing. I was in tears.
It was nice. Because I don't want to, be one of those people, but there's too many for me to enjoy them, so I don't really watch them.
You're one of those.
I'm getting sick of it, but I just loved Guardians.
I get
me too. A breath of fresh air in a sea of, Avengers. And
I get that, but that's why I'm looking forward to Ragnarok.
Oh my God.
And again, I don't know, because we had a technical problem. Yesterday, Kevin came out and compared Ragnarok to Flash Gordon.
In what way? What was his?
He said it was exciting and fun.
It just made him think of Flash Gordon when he was watching it.
Yeah, like when he was a kid. He said it brought it back to when he was a kid watching Flash Gordon.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
But I think, isn't it nice when a film can, and that's what we try to do, when you kind of watch it and it brings back memories
Yes.
of a song you heard or where you were when you first watched it. And for me, I think I'm certainly going to try and capture that, in the next, because we're doing a Life After series.
And let me ask you something.
Oh, I love that.
Could you sit down and watch Flash Gordon right now? You couldn't, could you?
If I had done the last three
I understand.
3 years of it. But you know what? It's funny.
Okay, no, don't feel guilty, because I had the director of shooting Clerks on, and we did a Clerks commentary, and as we were after it was over, I was like, "So you want to do the next movie?" It was like, "Dude, I cannot watch any Kevin Smith stuff for the rest of my life now." And I love him and everything, but it's just he just shot a movie that was about Kevin's first movie experience, so he was burnt.
Yeah, and it does, and I think eventually, yes, because interviewing such massive fans of the film, they kept talking about things. I was like, I don't remember that. I don't remember. So I want to watch it, just all these things that I have missed in the film, but I think I just need a little break. Even with my film, I was like, I really want to not watch it for 10 years and come back and go, I really like that scene. I really, but I feel like I just need a break from him.
Yeah, that's why I've enjoyed the shooting Clerks experience, because I've just been a part of it without being responsible for it.
Yeah.
It's much more fun.
Exactly. But it is, I still like, if I see it on TV or I see something, I was like, oh, it's Flash Gordon. I still get excited at the idea of the film.
I watched it a week ago.
Can I tell you, Sam was so gorgeous in that. I just love.
Isn't he?
I just want to touch him and just touch his hair.
I love that the 70s,
he's so sexy as shit.
Kinky stuff is still sort of there.
No.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sexual overtone.
A lot of watching it as an adult is a whole different ballgame.
It totally is.
Oh yeah,
But he has the perfect face, and Alex Ross said gorgeous. That. Alex Ross does all the DC.
Yes.
And so he uses in nearly every face, he uses Sam as a reference.
He's a huge fan.
Because he's perfect. He's perfection in the TV show.
You can probably see a bit of Sam in all of his work, because he modeled faces of Sam.
There is someone I would love to get on this show, Alex Ross, because one, we could talk Flash, and there's another thing that I know he has a passion for. I'll say the name. You won't know what it is. It's called Battle of the Planets. It was this animation show when I was a kid, and he's the only other guy I've ever, like a public figure, heaped praise on it so much that he did a limited comic book line about it.
Really?
He redid the series for 13 books or something.
Maybe we could do swapsies, and I'll send an email to Alex and you shoot a text to Kevin.
Oh
Awesome.
God,
Awesome.
So great.
No problem. I would love to help you out.
And Kevin loves it.
This is about.
Kevin is such a huge fanboy that he would be delighted.
Yeah.
Because obviously we're doing the screening because we're in LA next month, and I'm open. I understand people's schedules cancel.
You being in you being in LA next month helps big time
God,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, but it would be nice to just if you wanted to come and watch the film, or because I'd love to meet him.
Yes, he's a cool guy.
He just seems nice.
And
he really is.
He is who he what he presents to be is what he is.
Yeah, it's been our experience that he really gives a shit.
He's genuine.
He didn't need to help us out at all.
How was it? How did you meet him? What was your what happened?
Well, we'd been doing the show for a little bit. Not even a year yet, though.
Mm-hmm. We
And
met him at the Montclair Film Festival.
Yeah, we met him the first time we met him was at the Montclair Film Festival, and he knew he had heard of the show. He knew enough about it because, I remember holding up our emblem. The security guard was trying to push us away, so I held up our logo to a window, hoping that Kevin would glance up and see it.
And he did.
And he did. And then next thing you know, he waved he waved us in.
Well, he waved you in, and I was caught in the back.
Yeah,
remember?
the security guard stopped her for some reason. It was wacky. But then Kevin had to wave her in too.
Yeah.
But so when I was talking to him, then there was only one thing on my mind. Oh God, it was out of body. It was the adrenaline's pumping, and he was at a good space too, because he was adrenaline out and sugared up and having a good time too. But then I asked him, I said, you always say, to grab the opportunity when it's presented. So since I'm here, will you come on my show about you? And he said, what did he say? He gave me an answer that was not yes.
Open-ended.
Yeah, it was I don't remember what it was, but I remember the first thing out of my mouth was, "That's not a yes."
What did he say to that?
To which he said, "Yes, I will definitely do your show."
Oh, good.
Well, he just think. Yeah.
But then again, we were so shot out of a cannon. We left without getting any info.
We never got a date. We were so excited.
Yeah.
We were excited.
I completely know how you feel. It's funny, the cinema that we had our screening here in the UK, it's a Prince Charles cinema, which is really big on indie film, and there's a toilet cubicle that's signed by Kevin Smith because he used it.
Yeah.
And it's a big
Yes.
The Prince Charles Theater.
Oh, guess what? Shooting Clerks is going to be there soon.
Yeah, they're going to be there soon.
Yeah, you should go see it.
They're going to be there in January.
I will go and see it.
Yes, go see it. Say hi to Ben Montgomery while you're there.
Oh my God,
I will definitely go and see it. It's an amazing cinema because it's really it really supports independent film, and
that's good. Oh, it's funny because we have a friend in the UK through this show. His name is Ben Montgomery. He's been involved in the Shooting Clerks project, and he's sort of the guy who spearheaded getting that premiere there.
Right.
Right. Yeah, I'll go and see it. That's really exciting.
Yeah, it's really cool. I'm very happy with that project. Wow, it's so weird. It's I'm in the film industry. What's going on?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It's exciting.
Well, we've taken so much of your time. I feel I love having you on. I love someone who's very passionate about Flash. I love someone who's also, making their passions reality.
And he's stuck with it.
Yeah.
Through thick and thin.
Yeah.
Thick and thin.
And again, it's there was a Bob Hawke, when we also got involved, there was a couple guys filming a documentary about him. It eventually came out. It's Film Hawk.
Yeah.
But we got close with those filmmakers as well. It's been such an interesting experience getting close with other filmmakers, new filmmakers and old filmmakers, but because the experience is the same.
Right.
You know what I mean? It doesn't matter.
And that particular film did go to Sundance.
Yes, that did.
Film Hawk did.
Yeah, Film Hawk.
But it's like one of those, I had a whole conversation with my friend. It was like, you're really poor, you're really, me too, and picking up camera and doing things on weekends and doing things on evenings. And
yes.
Right.
Yeah,
and it's funny,
people
kind of think that because you're doing this, you're not poor.
Yeah, no, we are.
We are too.
That's been my. Whenever we get invited to things nowadays, I'm like, now my new response is, no, we're independent filmmakers. We have no money.
Yeah, we're poor, and
Yeah, but it's nice because I totally like. I'm really excited to see yours, and I totally get what you're doing and how you're doing it and what you're going through, and it's nice.
And absolutely, the feeling is mutual.
We
because
feel
I
the
love
same.
Flash. I love
and
Flash.
you sharing about the ups and downs and the ins and outs of it. Ultimately, like it's done.
Yeah.
It's done, and you got through it, even though it seemed like days. You just wanted to like just throw it all in the garbage.
Unless, of course, you can get a Kevin Smith interview, then it's not done.
There are a couple of people that I would, that I would re-edit for, because I'm probably going to have to tweak anyway. But Seth MacFarlane would be the other.
Okay.
God.
Hey, guess what? We have a connection there too.
I love Seth MacFarlane. We totally have a Seth.
Seriously,
MacFarlane.
Ralph Garman
Seth MacFarlane.
does voice work for Family
Guy.
Yeah.
Well, he's also doing the
he's on his
Orville,
the Orville too.
The Orville, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the reason that he just hasn't been able to do it because of like the schedule has been crazy, surreal.
I know.
I feel you.
She's like, I gotta get out of here. Enough of Paul McCartney. Fuck him.
No, I'm a big.
And fuck J.K. Rowling too.
Fuck Harry Potter.
Yeah, I agree on. I'm not a Harry Potter fan.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah,
The national heritage.
That's all right.
It just didn't really do anything for me.
That's okay.
Yeah,
Well,
Flash. That's where it is.
I agree.
Flash.
I agree. Well,
Yeah. I've heard that so many times.
Well, I hope we can have you on again when there's more news, like it's released or everybody can buy it, or.
Right.
But,
I will let you know as soon as, because we've actually been accepted into a UK festival, but I can't say yet because they're not announcing. So
Gotcha.
that'll be a UK premiere. But as soon as I know anything, or I'll let you know.
Right, and check Life After Flash on Facebook and Twitter.
yes.
Yes.
And I want to thank
I'll
you.
hook you up with Sam too.
Thank you.
Oh my God, yes.
I'd love that.
That would be a dream.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for coming on. Even though I'm saying thank you, don't go anywhere. We need to talk.
Stay here.
We have big plans here. All right, everybody. Lisa Downs with Life After Flash.
Yay.
And there you have it.
The lovely, the brilliant, the wonderful, the awesome, the super fun,
And super talented.
and I am really glad. Like I liked commiserating with another filmmaker. I like helping another filmmaker, even behind the scenes.
Right.
And just it's been a lot of fun interacting with her.
Right.
And I hope all the best. I hope everything works out this month. I hope.
And watching her like go through the whole process and
Yes.
seeing it be like where it is now, it's so
And you know
cool.
what? And same with the guys, with Ty, JJ and Ty,
Right.
and all these people that came
Film
into our
Hawk.
life. Yeah, that have kind of shown us the way and have been shoulders to cry on and people to commiserate with
Right.
and all that shit. So I definitely appreciate it.
Yes.
It's another person who I hope nothing but good things happen to. And, God, it would be so cool if Flash is on, and it'll be so cool if we get fucking, God, now my name just went, wow, Alex Ross.
Wow.
Yeah, on the show. Those would be awesome.
That
So
would be amazing.
We have our fingers and toes crossed, and, but, whatever happens,
So
happens.
stay tuned.
Yes.
We'll definitely share about it.
Yes, and if we do, definitely my brother and probably Pork Chop Murphy will be in the hizzy for those.
That would be fun.
Just because, it's all boyhood, like, reminiscing.
Yeah.
So.
And they would totally dig on that. So.
Yeah. And also, as I said, the other cool thing about Alex Ross, Battle of the Planets.
Battle of the Planets.
Or, to many, Gotcha Man. So, many people have liked the picture I posted recently as the header of my Facebook account, which is
Gotcha Man.
The Gotcha Man, or the Battle of the Planets guys. G-Force, as they were called on the show.
G-Force. I never watched Battle of the Planets.
Oh, it was great. Like, in a sea of Bugs Bunny and all this other stuff, this show, this guy, Sandy Frank, who was notorious for buying, overseas stuff and bad dubbing it and putting it out to fill television and, but he after Star Wars, he'd seen this Gotcha Man thing from Japan, and so he bought it up and he redid some of it to make it a little safer for American television because, Japanese had no problem with violence and sex like the same way we do.
Right.
So it had a little more of that. So they tamed it. But, it was still, compared to what what was being served up at the time, because it was all this excellent, like, Japanese animation, and it was very archetypal. It became a style, like, if you've ever seen, what was it, the one where the 5 kids turn into lions? I can't think of it right now, but like that is very drawn from Gotcha Man. Like Gotcha Man laid down this archetype of, the 5 kids. You have the leader,
right?
You have the second, then who's always sort of he always has an attitude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then there's the girl who's number 3. Then you have the weird kid who's either science kid or robot kid or whatever, but he's always too young
kid.
and a little he's too young for the rest of the team too.
Yeah.
So that gives him problems. And then you usually have the big fat guy who's like usually the pilot type, which is Tiny. So there you go. So that's me waxing philosophical about Gotcha Man and Battle of the Planets. And it was just a cool show for its time. And I was fucking 7 and 6. So it was like, this is
that's the best show
this
ever.
is amazing. Yeah, it was mind blowing. So
yeah.
And I tell you, if I have a bunch of the old discs, if you watch the Gotcha Man ones with and read the subtitles, much better than the US versions.
Oh.
And still good, still hold up, still worth watching. So
we'll check them out.
There you go. I don't know where that came from, but that'll gear you up for Alex Ross, maybe.
Yeah,
get him on the show.
That would be awesome.
Talk Gotcha Man and
give people another thing to
because he
check
had
out.
a run. He did do an independent run with Top Cow. He did an independent Battle of the Planets run on books. So
well, maybe people will take your recommendation and check it out.
Yes, there you go. And I'm not
searching
even
for something new.
I'm not even a big anime guy, but I loved that show when I was a kid. So there you go.
And it stuck with you, obviously, because you're still
took me back.
Yeah, that stuff feels good. Just going back and feeling it again.
Yeah. Takes you back.
And I'm like feeling it off.
Gotta get back. Back to the Samurai Jack, which I've been watching a lot too.
Yeah, Samurai Jack is really well done.
I've been watching a lot of animation lately.
Funny, yeah.
I've been watching Battle of the Planets. I've been watching Samurai Jack, and I've been watching
the Cowboy Bebop.
Cowboy Bebop, yeah.
That
bouncing
one,
around between all 3 of them.
That one I kind of like.
You don't understand the world as much.
Yeah,
But it's so. You know what? Even if you just sit back and just watch an episode to watch it, it's very artistic.
Yeah,
because they interweave music in ways that a lot of the animation didn't, like particularly Japanese animation.
Yeah, maybe I just need to watch, like, not be like doing things when I'm watching it. I just
and
sit
even
down and watch
the
it.
art is very like the animation is very artistic. They do a lot in a lot of the same ways that Samurai Jack does.
I really like the Samurai Jack art.
Yeah, me too.
It's really
I love
well
the
done.
style.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, some people just don't like it.
Really?
Yeah, there's people out there who just don't like it.
Well, that's more for us then.
Yeah. What I like about it is there's no lines, and that's what bothers a lot of people. But if you look at life, there's no lines.
It's true.
There's no lines. There's no one drew an outline around anything you're looking at right now.
Yeah.
Your mind draws that.
It's true. Yeah. Wow, that's really interesting to think about. I never thought of that.
Yeah. So
I like Samurai Jack a lot.
Yeah, me too. We can go watch more after.
We have him hanging up somewhere in our house.
Oh yeah, he's here. He's back here. Right here over my I'm pointing him. He's on the wall. Which we should also send a big shout out to
Jack.
But we should send a shout out to who was here early this morning, bright and early. Midnight Smoke stopped in. So our next episode, you get Mr. Midnight Smoke, Steve the Knight.
Yeah, previously Steve the Knight. Is he still Steve the Knight?
I think all the nicknames stick.
He's Steve, and he's awesome, and he's like a doll for coming here and hanging out with us. And
he came here at like 8 in the morning and hung out for like 2 hours.
He's a great podcaster. He's
generated content. We had fun. It was as I say to him, and
he's
it's really true. I wasn't blowing smoke. Like, since I know he listens, it's often in my mind he's become sort of my ideal listener, or I wonder if Steve will like this. I wonder if Steve will get this. I wonder if he'll think it's funny. So,
Well, it makes you think, like...
And I was able to confess that to him today.
Yeah.
And kind of talk to him. And that's why I was so glad to have him here. It was such an honor.
It was.
Yeah. So I was like, wow, my listener is here.
I know.
He's my only listener, and he's here.
And shout out to all of the Why Not
Yeah, who you guys
peeps
all had a blast in Philly.
We're
not going to dwell on that
Big
today,
Daddy.
just because next week when you
we're
hear
gonna
the
talk about it
show
more.
with fucking with the actual guest,
right? Big Daddy. We hope you got home safe.
Oh yes,
everybody.
Yes, I hope fucking what's the guy? I hope Midnight Smoke got home safe.
Yeah, at Midnight Smoke 1.
Yes, my time is all screwed up too because of fucking
on Twitter.
The hour difference.
Right.
See, it feels like 7:05 right now.
Oh, stop. Oh, my God. That's so annoying. Well, it's really 7.
No, it's not really. It just feels like 7:05 right now.
Is it 6?
Yeah, it's 6:05.
Oh, my God. I feel it.
Doesn't it feel like 7:05? See? Ha-ha. Touche.
Well, if it takes a few days to get used to it, that's fine.
Grace, fuck me and make me forget we got a stupid kid.
Why is that your go-to?
Coming down.
I don't know. I just love it. It's so
Coming
funny.
down.
Because
I
I also
totally see
love
her
the
being
fact
like
that Kevin is actually cracking himself up
I
there.
know.
It's just so funny.
He always cracks himself.
Yeah.
But I could totally see his mom being like that too, because you're so sweet.
Joy
Coming down.
So, also, probably the next time you hear this show, as we're wrapping this thing out, we'll be sitting with Ralph Garman this week.
We are.
And we'll also be at Babylon.
Babylon Tuesday.
So should you see us, I may be wearing a Midnight Smoke jersey.
Oh, my God. Are you going to wear it?
I don't know. I may do it I really do. I want to fucking put it on and do it Midnight Smoke stealing stuff from a store. Take pictures of it. Look, there he is. Look, who did it? It was Midnight Smoke. He did it. He was in the woman's room.
Have it hanging out the bottom of the stall.
Yeah. Or me wiping my ass with the
no
naked, using it as a towel, but you know how you have dental floss between your legs with it.
Ew. And rub it in between.
Yeah, exactly. Doing hey, my Midnight Smoke jersey. Whoa.
Yeah.
I signed it myself with skid marks.
Oh no. Absolutely not.
It's sitting
Steve,
very.
I will not let that happen to your.
Yeah, I actually at this point
adorable jersey.
The most danger it's involved. It's probably it has right now is the cats coming along and using it as a scratching post,
or laying on top of it.
Yeah.
But we will move it and hang it up,
Yes.
and it will be perfectly fine. And when you get it, it will be just as you left it.
Oh my God!
With a signature.
The soft sell. Yes. Well, we hope. We're going to do our best on that. You know how that works.
Yes.
We've explained that over and over again.
We explained it. We just hope you got home safe. So, let us know.
And if no one else has told you today, let us be the ones that tell you. You're smart and good. And we're very happy that you joined us to listen to the show today.
Thanks for listening, guys. Enjoy
And
it.
we hope you enjoyed our Flash Gordon-driven episode.
Yep. And share it with your friends.
Yes. Please tell a bunch of people about the show. We seem to be silently creeping along. Our numbers are creeping up.
Yeah.
So
share.
I haven't been focusing on them, but I just noticed lately. I glanced at something and I was like, wow. It was definitely ooh, that's noticeable up.
Right. So go to ThatMan on Fatman on Facebook, ThatMan on Fatman on Twitter, and at ThatMan Producer too. So you can follow me.
We're silently taking over the world.
We are.
Yes. Or infecting, Kevin Smith fans, because we've been, we got a nice backlog of material for y'all folks. So
We do.
If you're just discovering the show, welcome.
Welcome.
And you got a shitload of cool stuff that you can catch up on at your leisure, and stay fresh. All right.
And
again,
welcome.
You're smart and good.
Bye,
And
guys.
we'll catch you next time. And where the fuck is my closer?
Bye, guys.
We'll get you next time. Classic closer.
Feeling it with fear. dreams gone comes we must reply. Powers from our mother earth will blow us to our knees. While our souls do bind as one, come join us if you please, if you please. Reading moments one by one and smirking like a thief. Sleeping through another night and deepening our peace. Genesis and matter's wake is coming from our sun.
Yeah.
Living in this very moment, for this moment's done.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now I see the dawn will come and we are all its guide.
Yeah.
Trays of dreams and nonsense schemes, the Godhead in the skies. Powers from our mother,
Yeah.
it's all we'll ever be. All our souls do bind as one, come join us if you please, if you please.
Yeah.
Join another person's eyes, we worship at our shrine. Bursting flowers into bloom, there's no such thing as time. Powers from our mother earth will blow us to our knees. Twisting, turning minds are burning, join us if you please. And now I see that I am just beginning its demise. Flashing bits of comic light that vanish from the skies. Powers from our mother earth is all we'll ever be. All our souls do bind as one, come join us if you please, if you please. If you please. If you please.
There he is. It's that man standing over Blood Alley Square, protecting us all. Go get him, that man.